All right, dudes, let's get into this. Let's. So busy, but yeah, we're gonna get into this. Here we go. Can you confirm you guys can hear me, and can you guys confirm that I am actually streaming in 4K? Let's bring this zoom in a little. What's up, my dudes? You know, this machine is great. Let's get. There we go. Somebody says no video. You guys got to be able to see video. It says I'm streaming and everything is good quality. So this should be a pretty interesting one. So what I've had, I can't tell you. It's just part and parcel of the crypto space right now. But there has been, I think I have like 25,000 unread messages, and I'm not kidding on that number. So, I mean, we're talking a lot of just people asking questions. And believe it or not, it's a lot of gamers going, hey man, I've hated crypto for a long time. And but I'm not going to be dumb, and I'm going to start mining with my gaming PC. And but I have no idea how to do it. And you know, there's a lot of content out there, and the problem with crypto mining in general is there is actually a lot of content for people to try to identify what's going on, and like how to here, let me get something else here. Actually, I just realized I had something else going on here. I had a test Zoom going, so it might have been lagging us out a little. Here we go. All right, now I'm not simultaneously going twice. Anyways, thanks Crypto Investor and James Johnson for those $5 super chats. Glad that you guys are enjoying the time right now. And yes, that has been pretty awesome. Crypto has been just amazing. But back to where I was going with this statement. So there's a lot of content on YouTube, and people don't really have like a cradle to grave. It's been a minute since I've done a cradle to grave video on how to get like a gaming PC. Like if you already have a gaming PC and you got stuff loaded on it, and you got Steam and you got Origin and you got what are some of the other ones that I have that's on my other gaming PC? Bree, help me out. Blizzard, there you go. Oh, my daughter in the background. Help me out. What's the other one that gives all the free games again? That's Fortnite? I should know this. Epic Games, that's right. I only have Epic Games to get all the free games. How bad is that? But people are asking questions, and I did a couple Nicehash videos, which isn't necessarily the most efficient way. It is a way to mine, and people, are like, "Hey, like Carter, why would you talk Nicehash? Like, what?" The part of my mission, if it was a mission, is to ensure that you guys have all of the different angles on getting into cryptocurrency. I believe being an individual contributor trumps everything, right? If you can be a person that has a machine, it's deployable hardware onto a network. We are moving into an age where there is going to be a string of decentralization, a mesh network, as it were, of different crypto networks. Some that are going to be proof of stake, some that are going to be proof of work, some that are going to have a hybrid system of sorts. And the more, this is kind of like wax on, wax on, Mr. Miyagi style, like crawl, walk, run strategy on getting you guys up to speed on crypto. And if it starts with just your single gaming rig, and it starts with understanding something like Nicehash, which is a brokerage service, which somebody's renting your hash power. And for that, they will deploy it onto a network. And why it has been used as a tool to attack before, and we'll get into that later when we're waiting for something to sync here. There are other opportunities of mining directly for the coin and for the wallet. And so what I'm going to do tonight here is show you guys how to set up a wallet. We're going to use Exodus. I'm going to show you how to back up that wallet. We're going to go through, there's the backup of the keys. You guys will be able to have the same keys that this is, just, you know, to kind of follow along. You'll want to make your own wallet. You will not want to copy this wallet, even though it look tempting, because I'm going to mine to it for a little bit. So that means some cryptocurrency is going to go to it. So some people are actually probably going to set up the same private key to see if they get any crypto in there, and that's okay, because we're going to mine with this for a little bit on that wallet. So some crypto will go to that wallet. But I want to show you guys how to set up a wallet, how to get an address, and how to deploy a machine to set your computer to where when you're sleeping at night, you are upholding a crypto network and you are being compensated for holding that up. Miners have had a bad name, and part of that is because, there's a supply shortage. And that supply shortage is definitely exacerbated by mining. I don't think it's the full story, but people have this bad, aura about miners. And, I want to make sure that, the majority of us that are actually teaching you guys how to do this are really doing it genuinely to see if you guys can help participate in some of this. You as a miner will start doing it, and then you'll start talking about it with your friends, and your friends might not be miners, but they may buy cryptocurrency. So now you have the creation process, and you have a buyer now, maybe in your own circle, right? And that ecosystem has many one-to-many connections, right? Or it's like a one-to-many to your friends and family, and those family members talk about it, and then maybe they start mining a little. And then you have this large ecosystem that's part of it. And what you're doing is holding up these crypto networks, right? So we'll go through one of the very first steps that if you're just watching this video and you're taking a look at how do I start, the very first thing you need to do is you need to get a wallet, okay? And there's a handful of steps that I'm gonna show you on getting that wallet. We're going to get right into it right now. I'm going to get to some of your guys' questions. If you guys do super chats, I definitely will get to those too. And I'm partially watching the chat right now. Hey to all the other crypto folks that are here, Serpent and folks. And anybody that's just joined and will leave later, I'll make sure I'll say, tomorrow we're doing a live stream with several of the crypto channels on YouTube. And this is in regards to EIP 1559. 1559 is a proposal that's coming up on Ethereum, and that is has a potential to impact miners' revenue by changing the way the fee structure works. So we're going to have a miner call tomorrow. We may have another one during the week in preparation for a call with Ethereum developers and the other community folks that are part of Ethereum. That's on Friday morning. I believe it's at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe 8 a.m., somewhere around there. It is posted out there on the last few videos. I have a link to that particular event. But that is tomorrow, so if you do have to leave later tonight, do check that out. Right now it's set for 10:30 Central Standard Time. Tomorrow is, so that's tomorrow, 10:30 Central Standard Time, which would be 11:30 Eastern. Anybody wants to check that out. And that's going to be just talking, a lot of miners talking about different issues around that. So you definitely want to check in for that. I will get to some of your questions. I'll tell you when I'm looking at questions. And for the folks that follow me right now on YouTube, and thanks for all those subscribes, I am going to be working to get the Twitch stuff fixed, and I'm going to do a lot of just normal live streams like I used to do on Twitch, and then we'll be bringing the cut versions to YouTube. So not saying this is my last YouTube live stream, but my main live stream platform I normally do stuff on is on Twitch. There's just a lot more tools with Twitch. I can do giveaways on Twitch a lot easier because there's integrations with Twitch to do giveaways. I have a couple giveaways that I was wanting to give to folks, which I'm looking for right now, but I actually got them deployed into a machine because no GPU is left undone right now. But we're going to be giving away a couple 1070 Ti's coming up, and that will be off of Twitch. I'm going to at least have the Twitch stream running because I want to make sure that the Twitch crowd has an opportunity at those, and we're going to be doing a choosing one from YouTube. I just need to get that randomizer that I use that parses the current people that are in the chat to look for them. So we'll be doing that giveaway too. So that's a pair of 1070 Ti GPUs, 8 gigabytes. They're the Zotac Amped Extreme Edition, and I'll do some tweeting on that upcoming. That's going to be this week. I've been meaning to do it for a couple weeks, but I want to make sure that you guys get an opportunity. So, and GPUs are hard to come by these days. And it is like the best, like one of the best 1070 Ti's you can absolutely get. It's the Amped Extreme Editions. They're awesome. So let's get into this. So we're going to open up the computer right now. This computer here is I believe it's the Ryzen 5. This might be the 3600 or it's the 5600. I can't remember. I just built this one. This is the NZXT 210i. This is the smaller ATX or ITX motherboard. B550 ASRock ITX/AC. The content's down in the description if you guys want to know what this build is. And that's got a 6800 non-XT in it. And that's what we're going to use tonight as an example. So Ryzen 5, new build. It's got a nice G3 850 watt power supply in it. I mean, just brand new, fresh build. Good gaming machine. Excellent gaming machine. And what are we going to do? We're going to try to mine with it. And we can game with it. We can do everything with this. So we're going to switch over now to the screen. And I don't have my Stream Deck right now. I need to get another extension line for a USB extension to be able to bring the Stream Deck. Let me know if this is too, if it's too sharp, and you guys can't see it on your screen. For the folks that are on mobile, somebody can confirm I should be streaming at 4K, so it should be nice and sharp. But let me know if it's not close enough for you, and we'll take a look. This machine, people are asking with idle. We'll check the idle power and all that here in a second, but this is a fresh, brand new build. Let's go ahead and take a look at the build spec here. Performance. Okay, so it is the 3600. This was the 3600. I need to put the 5600 in here. I do have a new 5600 processor I have not taken out of a box yet that needs to go in this. So this is the 3600, 6 core with 6 virtual. So that's a 12 thread GPU or CPU setup with 16 gigs of RAM and then a 6800 non-XT. So that is the current build setup, and this has a let's see here. I believe it has a 2 terabyte. Yes. So this is a 2 terabyte NVMe. It doesn't tell me which one it is, but this is the Samsung 980 Pro NVMe PCI Gen 4. So it's got the Samsung NVMe Gen 4 2 terabyte. It was about a $380 or $400 NVMe, but that's what I put in my gaming machines. I want to have a single NVMe drive for my gaming machines out here. So a pretty decent build here. So the very first step, if you're a gamer, and I'm going to put the timestamps in here, and so this is the first one of the timestamps. So as we get into the build, the very first thing you're going to want to do is you want to go out and get a wallet. Now I'm going to go out and I'm going to get Exodus, because Exodus gives me a range of different currencies that I can actually get addresses for, and this is a local wallet. So you can mine to an exchange. However, your coins will be, on a centralized exchange. This allows you to keep your keys locally, but you do not want to forget them. So we're going to look up Exodus. Oops, this mini keyboard has locked numlock here. Exodus wallet. Look at that. It's the first one up on crypto. So we're going to download this here, right here. And we're going to grab the desktop version of it. Okay. Kind of skip that. Now, the cool thing is it has a mobile edition too. And what the mobile edition does is you can actually, once you get your keys on this wallet here, you can actually type in the recovery key if you download the mobile, and then your computer and your phone will have the same exact crypto wallet. And that's pretty nice if you're wanting to use your crypto and it's right there on your phone. So then you could be mobile, you can have a local desktop wallet, and then that gives you that access to be able to use the crypto. So we're going to download this one here, and we're going to go download the Windows version because this is Windows. And here we go, downloaded that, and we're going to run it from scratch here. I haven't done one of these videos in a while. Cradle to grave. It's been a cool minute. I've been meaning to for a while with you guys, so that it helps you guys get all the steps. There's no cuts here, no edits. So we're going to open up Exodus here, and the very first thing that comes up. Now, Exodus, I want to tell you, Exodus has a lot of updates. So before we get into it, Exodus has a lot of updates. So most of the time when you open up Exodus, it's always updating itself. And that's a normal thing. So you'll update it, it'll reboot, you have to log back in and give it a password. Just be cognizant that that's a thing that happens all the time. It's nothing wrong with your computer. It just updates a lot. All right, so we're gonna close out their ad here. And then right when you're first on a fresh Exodus wallet, it gives you two options. These two options right here. One is to restore an old wallet. So if you have the seed of an old wallet, you can restore that seed in Exodus, okay? And we can get into a different video where I start explaining the different types of seed. If you have a Blech32 seed for like Bitcoin and it's 12 words, you can import those. So all the seed is just a think of it like DNS for networking, where you're having a name reference. The seed breaks it up into 12 unique words that can then has a mapping back to a particular crypto key, okay? And then that allows you to restore it. Think of it like DNS. That's the way I usually tell people. We're going to make our first deposit. So we're going to make a fresh new wallet. So if you're making a fresh new wallet, you just click that. It's that simple, okay? It's going to ask you to back it up. You know, I might have actually had Exodus on this thing because it should have gave me a little pop-up to back up the wallet. But what it's going to do is it's going to want you to, your wallet is up to date. Yep. It's going to want you to back up your wallet, okay? Let's see here. Did I have... Make your first deposit. I think I already had it on there because it actually is. It should have came up and gave me a little wizard to do a backup of the wallet here. So what we're gonna do real quick here is we're gonna shut this down. We're gonna completely remove it. So uninstall. Add remove programs. I don't remember actually installing it on here, but we're gonna do it again. Because I want you guys to see it from a fresh wallet. Okay, we already downloaded it. And we're gonna come in and install. Nope, I think it just did it for the first time here. Okay. Oh, it still kept the thing. It didn't actually fully uninstall. Bottom line, it's going to want you to back up your wallet, and you want to come in and back up your wallet. So, not all apps. You can come back up here. Oh, you know, it actually doesn't prompt you now until you actually have a deposit, because it's like we don't care if you have nothing in it. So let's start mining and get something in it, and then we'll go through the backup seeds, because you're going to want to make sure you have your backup seed. Or if you're even sweeping a new wallet, you can click on like your Bitcoin wallet here, and you can come over here and you can use move funds, and you could paste in any other private key. So if you have an old wallet, an old Bitcoin wallet, and you have the private key like on a file, you can copy and paste that private key in here, and you don't have to download a full node. You could actually sweep the address as long as you have the private key right here. And it'll come up here and tell you that you want to move it over. So it's saying we can't move any funds because we didn't put any private key in there. But that's another way to also, and it doesn't matter, as long as any of these currencies it has, you can sweep the keys for it. So if you have an old ETH wallet that you printed off the key, you can import it that way too. But let's get to some mining now. So now we have a wallet, and we are going to make sure we have a Raven wallet. So we're going to click that one. And then we're going to have to leave that up. So we're going to start with Raven. We'll also do Vertcoin and a few others. But on this machine, we're gonna go out and download a Raven miner. So the next step is you need to get a miner. So you can run Nicehash if you're going to sell your hardware to a broker, or you can get more of a yield if you go and mine for yourself. And what we're doing to do that is we're going to go to BitcoinTalk Forum. BitcoinTalk Forum, and we're going to go to mining altcoins. It's actually such a used sub piece of that forum for Bitcoin. It has its own little thread, okay? And I'm going to explain real quick because it's relevant of why people use this. So a quick, small history lesson. BitcoinTalk is from the very, very beginning in the crypto days, with Satoshi actually talking. You can actually find Satoshi's correspondence with folks on BitcoinTalk, right? There was it was a discussion forum, and his posts are all still there. This is like a national treasure, right? And because this was such a prevalent website for the crypto space, on the alt sub forums, the altcoin sub forums, when new coins would launch, they would make something called an AN post, ANN, which is an announcement. And anybody that's part of like Scouts or something, and you start going announcement, right? So announcement posts just said essentially, hey, we're starting this new thing. There was a whole, like, people would copy and paste somebody else's effort of showing, how do I let people know? I have a wallet. Here's how you download that. I have a network. Here's how you start to mine for that. Here's some pools. Here's all the relevant information you should care about when you're mining. That's what the announcement post would say, is in all the altcoin forums. Because essentially there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else, right? So on the Bitcoin forum, if there was altcoins, all the announcement posts would be under the altcoin forum. That altcoin forum would start with ANN, and then it would just disclose the type of currency. And then from there, you would have another sub forum that got into just the mining specifics, which center more around the miner itself. So when we're talking the piece of software that runs on your computer, right? So that piece of software, and whoever's making that software posts that in their own announcements. Okay, so don't get them. There's crypto networks to mine, and then there's the miners that can mine those crypto networks. Separate forums on here. So a lot of people sometimes get caught up in the network side, like the new crypto network side, and they're looking for miners. You're in the wrong forum. You need to go over to the altcoins, and under the altcoins, alternative cryptocurrencies, mining altcoins. So you go into that forum, and then that's where the miners are going to be at. So then you can start to see some of the major mining software programs that are out there. And that's what we're doing right now. So I wanted to give you guys a context. I want this to be, for the newer folks that are coming into crypto, very comprehensive. So if you're an old dog, I'm so sorry, my dudes. Bear with me. And I promise I'll get to some of your questions. I like the correspondence that you guys are doing right now. So let's get back into screen. So now that we're on this particular forum, we are going to look for TeamRedMiner. It's right here. So most of these announcements, and this is what I'm talking about, the ANN post right here, TeamRedMiner 0.80. And the people that produce these actually go in and change the headers, whatever the latest is most of the time. When you come in here, you'll see the basic format of this is talking about TeamRedMiner, where it is to download. Most of those times they're the GitHub addresses these days because a lot of people don't trust no binaries. You want to go to where the code's at. You'll see a list of operating systems that are supporting it, which most of these are the mining OSs. So some of the good announcement posts actually tell you all the different, if you're curious, like, hey, how can I mine this if I don't want to mine it on Windows? Well, fancy that. There's a separate post here of all the different links to the other announcement post on how to go download those particular mining OSs. And then if you scroll down, you get some basic metrics, including a fee that's built into the miner. This is another thing I want to make sure that people understand, is that when you're mining with somebody else's miner that you have not produced, which it's a very hard thing, so it's okay. All of us use somebody else's miner. The way they're compensated is they have a baked in fee, and there's different ways that they extract that fee. But most of the time is that for a little bit of time, they will take some of those shares that you're mining and they'll be routing them to themselves. And there's been a lot of different benchmarks that people do. And every once in a while, a lot of the crypto content creators will do benchmarks on how does this miner perform against this other miner on the same pool. And we'll look at it over a period of time. It's just observe and report, right? What are you getting? What should you get? What's the calculator say you should get? What occurred, right? And there's a whole bunch of other things, and for a different video we'll get into of why sometimes those numbers are a little different, and it all comes down to pool luck and a few other things. But bottom line, most of the miners will disclose the fee that they have. Most of them are 2.5% or less. And you really, it's baked in, so you really don't feel that, and you are taxed that as the miner is doing his thing. So it's kind of like you're just left with the 98.5% remaining. So let's go back to screen, and let's get into the scroll down a little bit more. Okay. So the miners that you're looking at, if you accidentally download the wrong type of miner, most of the miners are split between NVIDIA and AMD. There are a few of the miners that support both cards, but they will come out and tell you somewhere in the Ant post which GPUs are acceptable there. So if you start downloading, you're like, hey, dude, this isn't working. It's probably that you have either the wrong miner loaded or you're missing a dependency, which we're going to scroll down a little further here and we'll find dependencies. So sometimes you'll have maybe the code that was used to make this miner had like a .NET requirement for Windows, right? So then Windows is going to have to download 3.5.NET. Those are just libraries that the miner is using. So like when somebody built the program, they built the program using a reference of different maybe icons and designs. And if your base Windows image doesn't have .NET or one of those dependencies connected, it's going to say, dude, I can't run this program. I need this other thing. So you need to load like 3.5 framework, .NET framework. Most of those will stop giving you an error anymore. Most of the miners actually include those dependencies with it. So, and sometimes they'll actually include the DLL or whatever that's required if you're doing it in Windows. Okay, I'm going to speed up here. So let's get in and download this right now from their GitHub. So TeamRedMiner, you'll see some basic release notes, just like if you're playing video games for you gamers, there are release notes for these too, and they tell you kind of what the new functions are, and then you can go in there and just download the win. So most of these miners will do a release to here. If you're a coder, bro, you can actually download the source and pull it into your IDE and run the build yourself. Now, I will tell you, if you're a developer and you are running this source code, you're probably going to have to pull in some other libraries to make this, if you're doing a CMake or if you're just running, in a standard like Eclipse IDE or any of those that has like, the C compiler or .NET compiler, you're probably going to run into dependency issues. It's okay. It's a normal thing. You guys are coder bros. You'll figure it out. But it's not just as easy as just downloading the zip and doing like a CMake on it sometimes. Just wanted to give that in full disclosure. If you click win.zip, it will drop it down here in the bottom. And what I'm going to do right now is that there's a good chance that this does not, most of these miners do not, they produce false positives for Windows OS. And what I'm going to do is hide this little subsection down here for you guys can see the taskbar or the bar down here, because this is going to be relevant here in 1 second. Let's do a little Heidi poo here on this, and this, and that. What else am I missing here? It's still operational. Trying to get to where you guys can see. And there we go. Okay. Sorry, there was like 8 elements that I had to hide there to make this work. All right, so down here, the reason why I wanted to do this is your Windows and your Windows security. You need to open this up. And I should have did this before I downloaded that, because this is kind of my normal best practice. So if you're following along, you'll just have to do this after. So if you go to virus protection here, and you go into virus and threat protection, settings right there, and you're gonna have to scroll down and hit an exclusion. Now I already did it here. I did it because I downloaded Nicehash, but you have to add a folder. And what I usually do is under downloads is I'll make a folder called miners. Okay. I do not anymore. I used to, like an idiot, but we all learn. Add just downloads to your exclusion. Put it into the miners folder. You do not want your entire downloads folder an exclusion from your virus protection. It's like don't do that. You don't want to do that. So you want to make a separate folder, make that your exclusion. When you are downloading the miner here, now it's going to go automatically right there, but what you can do is show in folder. Most of the time it will allow you a prompt, but you can drag this into here. As long as it's zipped, it usually doesn't try to nuke it. But if you have an aggressive antivirus, another different antivirus system, if you're using Norton or any of those, which I don't know why you would do that anymore, or McAfee, Web Inspect, any of those kind of things, it's going to give you a false positive. You want to have that in the miners folder when you unzip it, because the binary that will unzip here most of the time will get caught by the antivirus as bad news. So now that we got TeamRedMiner downloaded in an excluded folder, we're going to extract that by right-clicking and hitting extract. That will open up to the TeamRedMiner folder. And now in here, the miners come in different flavors. And the different flavors sometimes come with different bat files that are already loaded up for you. I'm going to switch this real quick. Again, I'm going real slow for some of the new bros, and I'm doing that for your good. So if you're your old dog, sorry. This is going to feel like watching paint dry for a second. When you open up those miner folders, you have essentially the thing that's going to be the miner that's doing the work, and then you have a reference, which is like a bat file. Okay, a bat is a batch file. It's saying go do these scripts. It's like a small little micro script, and in that script, it has a couple pieces of information. It points to where the miner is, usually in the root of that folder, which is where that bat file is, and then it has a few pieces of information that are vital. Where are you mining to, which is going to be a pool, and we're going to do that next. What wallet am I coming to, right? Which is going to be the wallet you put in that we just downloaded, right? You're going to put your wallet address in there because it's got to know where do you mine and where do you send the money to, okay? And then there's a few other settings sometimes if you want to get more telemetry on what's going on. Like you can get different settings that you can put in there. Those are called switches. So you can go there and flip different switches on within the miner. Most miners come with like a help screen or, a help file that's included in there. And then some also will save you some steps and include like small registry edit files that will help you optimize. Like if you have an older AMD card in Windows, older AMD RX series, 470s, 480s, 570, 580s, and 590s, they can run in both like a gaming mode or a compute mode, right? Typically, if you had a couple GPUs running Windows in there, you'd have to go through and manually set them to compute mode. There are, like TeamRedMiner includes a script that goes out and edits the registry and enables that compute for you. So that's pretty boss. And it just streamlines. You guys are getting to live in a wonderful time where a lot of this stuff is automated now. So, and then there's some other proxies that can be included in there, and some other just fixes when it comes to different errors that you can run into sometimes. Like if you're almost at 4 gigs on one of the crypto networks that you're mining, if the DAG file is close to 4 gig and you have a 4 gig GPU, there's other modes that they can be switched into to let them still extend the mining for a little longer. But anyways, we'll get back to it. So I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that. All right. And again, this is just TeamRedMiner for this AMD card that we're using tonight. There is NVIDIA versions. I've seen somebody to say T-Rex. T-Rex is a very good version out there too. It doesn't hurt to test a couple different ones. Sometimes some cards are more sensitive than others. I have one, the Red Devil 6800 XT hates, for whatever reason, the Phoenix miner. It only works with TeamRedMiner for my uses, and it's only the Red Devil 6800 XT. I have not identified the culprit of why the miner itself is causing it to crash all the time, but it is not very stable. It is good sometimes to try other miners. But now that we have this downloaded, you can see that there's a handful of different options in here. Most of these options define the crypto network that they're about to mine. So like if I just highlighted this one says start_ETH. That means that this one is pre-configured for you to mine Ethereum, and you're going to want to change a few things. So if you go through and edit, Windows the very first time is going to say, hey, I want to protect you, bro. You sure you want to open this? And you say, yes, I want to edit it. So you say, let you in and come check it out. Now, quick batch file, just read through. If there is nothing to the left of what's about to run, that is what is running. All this stuff with the ... is just reference. So this is saying, do not run anything past these 2 dots. This is just information in the file. Okay, so none of this is getting executed. If it's all the way up against the wall right here of the text file, it is running that. Or if it's telling it a command, which up here, these 5 commands are going to get ran in the beginning when you run this. Okay, so it's setting the max allocation 100%. These are just settings in there to make sure that the GPU is being able to be tasked at its full tilt. Okay, and then there's the TeamRedMiner. This is what type of algorithm. That's what the /A is. It is Ethash. It's already set up for you, and it's sending it to Ethermine at this port. Now we are in the US, so we are going to put US and get rid of this. Now, I know that this is the address for Ethermine, but how would you know this if you didn't know that that was? So you would go out here and look up Ether, this little mini keyboard, ethermine.org. Okay, ethermine.org. When you come over here and you go into start mining, most of these will have a help or get me started or something to that effect. That is going to give you the information that is required to get to this pool, to point your miner to the pool. So in this case, you have Asia, Europe, Eastern US, and Western US. Because the way mining works, you want to be as close to the pool as possible. So like any other kind of transportation or mechanics across the internet, just like if you were gaming and you're playing on an Asian server, that's fine if the Asian server is the only ones you can play on. But your millisecond lag time, because of physics and because of all the switching that needs to go through, you're probably going to be running about a 600 ping, which is about half of a second of delay. If your computer is doing work, proof of work to be specific, and it is sending shares to a pool, that half millisecond may be the difference of you being a participant and getting a good share, and then not getting your work to the pool and having an orphan share. So you want to make sure that you go in and you point it to the closest pools possible to where you're mining from, because you want all the work that your computer is working its butt off on to get to that pool and to give you credit for the payout. Okay, so you want to make sure you're in the closest pole. I see a lot of people like, oh, I'm still mining to Europe. It's like why it still works, you're impacting your opportunity cost on probably having a whole bunch of stale shares. So you don't want that. All right, so you want to make sure you're the closest miner. Now, there is, in a future video, we'll cover failover, because sometimes, like, it's good to have, if you're in the East Coast and you're mining to the East Coast server, to have the West Coast servers as a backup. And there's ways in the miner to set up a backup, meaning East Coast server goes down, you're failing over right away, hands off to West Coast. And that delay is enough. It's plenty. It's, you're talking a difference between like 10 milliseconds if you're in New York mining to the East Coast, to maybe 25 seconds to 30 milliseconds, not seconds, millisecond difference, going to the West Coast, which is still more than fine. Your shares are going to make it. Okay. And we'll get into that. There's also SSL, which just is encrypting those packets, right? So you're encapsulating it. If you go with SSL, to where if you have a really stingy ISP that is looking at the traffic, you could then run across SSL port 555, and then you're sending encrypted packets. And for them to try to web inspect those packets, you would have some issues. You won't have issues, rather. But most of the people do the most leanest non-encrypted way and just go with the Stratum port. You should be fine in the U.S. at least. It's really open for other countries. So we have the U.S. Ethermine, so we validated that, and we're coming across the Stratum port. So now we have both of those figured out. And then the next thing is one of the most important things is where you mine in. Let me switch over to where you guys can see the screen here. I will take your guys' questions, so if you give me a little bit. I see you guys going back and forth and talking to each other, which is good. We want to update the address of where this is going. So we're going to come in here for ETH, and we're probably going to end up mining both just for a second to show you guys the process here. But I want to make sure that you guys know how to get your address. So you would type in ETH up here and go to ETH and do a receive, because that you are, sorry, hold on. Yes, receive. I make sure I actually clicked receive, because you are receiving the payout, right? So that's where you're not sending it anywhere. That's sending your money out of your wallet will go somewhere. Receiving is the way you will receive your mining. Believe it or not, I've had a lot of questions about that. People ask, well, which one do I use? Send or receive? And I'm like, okay, back to the basics. You are receiving the payout. So you can hit that little button to copy it to the clipboard and come in here, and then you are going to paste, and it has to be perfect, my dudes. You want to highlight that whole address and Control V that, okay? So that is the address in here, and then the dot, and then this is just defining the machine. So I could say gamer 6800 on XT, okay? And then the next one is a space /P. X is the password. So this is just inheriting old code from back in the day. For whatever reason, they used to have different passwords for different workers. Nobody uses this really anymore. It doesn't really matter that much. So you just leave it as password X. It's not an issue. So you leave that there, and then now this miner is fully set up to be able to mine ETH to this wallet. And if we run this, you guys will see. Let's go back in here. If we just run the ETH one right now, it's going to go through. It's going to give me a warning here because the fix hasn't been ran. It's wanting me to do a minor fix here. So I'm actually going to close this real quick. And we're going to come down here and do this little Windows registry fix. And if we come in here, you can always open these or edit them and take a look at inside of them and see what this is doing. And what this is doing is that there's some delay in the graphics driver that it's making an optimization with regards to this DDI delay. It's making a change to the graphics driver with something to do with the delay. And TeamRedMiner, it probably explains what that fix is. in their run through, but yep, we just put that in there. And then there sometimes is a compute. We don't need this for it, but it still complains if you don't run this compute thing. And then there we go. Okay. So now it's compute mode's on, which doesn't really matter for 6800 because it's always on. But now we should be able to run this without any red text here. And all the red text is gone. Okay. So now this is going to sit there and go out there, and now you're mining. So that's effectively it for mining something like Ethereum, right? And now this machine will go out there, do some work. It's collecting the job. We're going to let it mine for a second on Ethereum, and then we're going to switch over and do Raven. And I'm going to show you guys the same process with Raven. So people that are not fully tracking what's going on normally with mining in general, everybody at the same time works on the same exact problem. That's the way mining works. Proof of work mining is, if you're trying to wonder, like, how can all these millions of people with machines submitting all this work, like, how does it all work? How do they know how to pick up the work? And how does it know that I've done work? I feel like my mind's exploding. Here's how simple this is. Each block, so let's take Ethereum. Ethereum's every 15 seconds. Every 15 seconds, it's taking what's happened in a transaction pool, it's stuffing it into a block, and it's posting it on the ledger. We, as miners, mint the shell of those blocks and put the transactions in that block, right? We get awarded the right to do that if we win the token to do that. That's what we're all working towards. We're all working for the option to mint the next block. And for that win, we get the reward. So the pool, so a lot of miners point themselves to pools. We just did Ethermine there as an example. Ethermine has thousands, possibly millions now of miners pointed to it. And it is effectively a proxy with a pool set up and a full node, several full nodes. And it is ready and willing to mint that block as long as one of our miners can find the primer, the requirement that is needed, the proof of work to write that next block. Okay? So we all get issued out the work, but we get it in little batches. Okay? So think of like a number line in school, right? Thousands of different lines in there. Each of us work on a little relative difficulty based on what kind of miner we have, okay? So if you have like a single card, we're going to get just a little bit of that number line, and we're going to sit there and sweep through all these potential answers just on a little bit. We're like one little guy on a little number line, okay? And the number line is the whole problem. And all the miners in the world are all working on different parts of it, and we're sweeping through trying to find the answer. So we're all working on the exact same problem, the exact same time, looking for the same answer. One of us are lucky. Maybe this machine right now for Ethereum on Ethermine is lucky enough to find the answer. I will submit a share saying, I have done work. Here's my work, bro. And by the way, I think I found the answer. And we submit that to the pool. And then the pool takes that and goes, holy crap, you found the answer. The real answer. And we all get to be rewarded to that. So then the pool mints the block and receives the reward. For something like Ethereum right now, it's about 4.5 coins per block every 15 seconds. And then everybody that's been mining to Ethermine all shares in our reward. We share proportionately to however much hash power we're putting in as a numerator to the entire pool's denominator, all the people filling into the pool. Okay? So we're just a small little share count. This little guy that could, right? It's just one small piece of it, and I'm going to get a small proportion of that win. Even though I found it, I'm going to get one small little piece of that because all of us benefit. It's the same as that if this machine never finds any reward or block, it will... My desk is going up. Or down. I just hit my button. Even if this machine never ever finds a block, we still the entire time got paid. Okay? And that's the point. That's the point of the contributor. And it's not just to get rewards and help produce blocks for a blockchain and process transactions. Is the other coin flip of why people mine is more people that are mining creates a consensus sweep to where out to overwrite the blockchain, to make a change to the blockchain, you would need more than 51% of that network's hash power to commit a longer chain. Okay, so the more miners on a network, the more contributor, the stronger the network. And this is why tomorrow when we start talking EIP 1559 and any kind of reduction to security, in my mind is just like I don't get it. Like, you want the most amount of possible security you possibly can. It secures your chain. And a lot of chains have to use very innovative or creative checkpointing or some other kind of feature to try to, when they don't have a ton of mining power, there's a risk to them that a lot of miners selling their hash power to like a brokerage can have somebody that's being nefarious to attack a network. And that's what happened to ETC, like 4 times last year. Is their network got hacked because people could rent more hash power than what was on the network. And this is why a lot of contributing miners makes a proof of work network very strong, is that you proportionally can't have enough force projection to attack the network. And that's why Bitcoin's king. There's nothing that comes close to trying to attack Bitcoin because there's just not enough deployed hardware that's malicious enough on it. So that's a real quick one. Hold on real quick. Miss BBT's trying to tell me something. What's going on? Well, they swinging back through and up. Okay, that's fine. I mean, just I have my daughter's having a birthday party right now, so I like she has like 4 friends coming over. I can't see, bro. It's not zoomed in. Oh, there's her finger. She says hi to everybody. She gives everybody a thumbs up. Hi. So yeah, so she's being real cool to let us do the stream bros for you guys. So shouts out to the little one. So that's why it's relevant, and that's why I'm trying to make sure that everybody knows how to mine, is not just to be a contributor and get part of that cheddar, but to be a contributor and help reinforce these networks that are actually being interesting to us, saying they don't need us in some way. But we'll get into that on the EIP 1559. So let's switch over back and take a look at this ETH, and let's see what we can find of so far that we've mined. So there's a couple more steps. So I've shown you guys the wallet. I've shown you guys how to start to mine. Now there's optimization, things that we should care about. And what I'm going to say here is one of the big contributing factors. It's fine that you're mining. It's fine that this card right now is not fully configured. We're getting about 61 megahash, 61.2 mega hash right now, which is okay. This card can do a little better, but there's a big piece here that we're missing, which is how much power is it using. So let's go ahead and do a real quick little scope here. Oh, no. I moved my screen. Let's see if it let's go one more thing down. I need to get my little clicker back here. Full power. And let's bring this down to where you guys can see it. There we go. There we go. So this machine right now is using 198 watts. So it's not fully optimized for power. So right now, I think idle on this machine was probably 60, 50 watts. So we'll make sure that it's, we've seen some quick little spikes there at 200. We want to bring this down. So that's your first part, is how much hash power do we got, and then how much is the power using. So let's come back up to screen here, and let's take a look at how we can optimize it. Because you do not need to be running these things at full tilt as a gamer. So you should, as a gamer, you'd want to have a profile set up for this for mining. And that mining would be, so we come in here and you can see that I have it semi dialed in here. Let's look here. 1400 watts. And I have it at 793. So we're not mining right now. So let's take a look at, let's take a quick look at the power again, full power. And so I'm not mining. I closed it. So it's idling between 50, 70, 80 watts. I'll just say it's setting probably around 60, probably average once it calms down here. So 60 plus the other. So what we want to do is try to bring this down. Okay. I'm gonna go to memory fast timing. We have 2150 on the memory here, and we're going to do power tuning, and we're going to pull this all the way down to -8 here, and we're going to take this down to 1300. We're trying to try to steal some more power out of it, and let's see what we can get out of it now. Apply that. And again, you'd want to save this under here as a profile. So I would just call this mining. Okay, and so if you're a gamer, you don't want to be playing games with this, like at these speeds and all this. You'd be hitting the performance of the card, because something like ETH mining hits the core. It doesn't hit the core as much, right? It's more a memory. So now I'm going to run this again, and let's see what kind of hash rate we get here. And we'll see what kind of power we're getting with it too. And now there's more advanced, I would call it power hacks that you can do with more power tuning, where you're actually going a little more, a little lower with the power levels. And there are a good amount of videos out there on this. We'll do a different video where I'm doing it with the 6800 and the 6900 specifically. Let's see if this thing catches up. I'm going to bring it back here while it's going. Crypto investor, any links to the Radon 8 gigs for sell? Not right now. If you're talking about like the RX series, nothing right now. So yeah, we're still setting at around about 150 watts on this card. This card can actually pull all the way down to about 105 to 108 watts with some more power tuning. And that's really what our target will want to be. So you want to get this down to where you're about 160 watts, 170 watts with this machine. And then that gives you a good idea of how much money you're spending. But even if you had it set into this, where you're setting at about 190 to 200 watts, still isn't too bad for a full machine power. If you're mining with about 64 mega hash right now. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous right now for the cost. And let's take a look back at screen again. So we've cycled back up to 58. I think it's the, let's do 1375. Apply that. Let's see what we get here. See if we get a hash rate change. Yeah, it's moving up. So yeah, it's the core. We need the core at about 1375. 1300 takes it a little too much. I just turned the GPU off and back on. But again, you want to have it as low as possible to keep your costs down. And again, like this isn't going to really hit the card very hard. This is going to keep the card around 60C, which this is a small case. I do have the glass open, so it's not really pulling through with the two big fans that actually move a lot of air. So it actually probably getting a little warmer than it normally does. But this card usually sets around 56C at the settings I have on here. Let's bring the power limit up just a hair. And there's a lot of videos out there that shows you guys how to configure these. So that's ETH. Now let's take a look at doing something like Raven. Now we're going to have to come in here, do the same exact thing for Raven. Ravencoin. We want the receive address. We're going to copy that. And we're going to see which one do they have. RedMiner has it pulled up to. So PoW. So if people are looking for Red Miner and are confused, they have PoW. So PoW is the algorithm type. So it's not saying RVN here, but you'll edit PoW. and they're going to Woolly Pool. We're going to try to, we're going to go, let's see here. Let's do mining pool stats and take a look at pools. Mining pool stats. You hit that. This will take you to all the different mining pools. Let's look at Ravencoin. And 2Miners looks like to be one of the bigger ones. Nano Pool, Woolly Pool is right here at 300. So this is a really good website to take a look at. And here's what I look at this for. I look at over the last 100 blocks. And for Ravencoin, that's 100 minutes. Okay. So a 1 hour and 20 minutes. This is a 1 hour, 20 minute view of Ravencoin. And what that means is over the last 100 blocks, 6 blocks were unknown. That means that it's not a registered pool. That means it's somebody with a big farm or just some really lucky bastards that are solo mining, not from a pool, and they have submitted the winning block, okay? And then you have the breakdown, which is right above here, is how many blocks over the last hour and 20 minutes were found by these pools. So you can see, you know, Woolly has only found 1 block in the last hour and 20 minutes, okay? 2Miners have found 29. So that means your payouts would be, they have a pretty good luck. Now, you can see out of the 7.4 known hash rate, you know, that's the pools. And you can see, okay, why has there been 6 known blocks? Is because you have a delta between 7.454 terahash versus 8.45 terahash. So there's almost a terahash missing. That is a solo pool, somebody that's not broadcasting as a pool and is mining on this network. And they have won 6 of the last 100 blocks, okay? So proportionately, which is pretty close to the proportion they should have. I mean, 6%, and they have almost 10% of the network. So they haven't won as many blocks as they should, but there's 10... there's a whole terahash missing here. But I like seeing this view because this gives me a view on different networks. So if I clicked on Grin, I'll see the same thing. 83 blocks are unknown on Grin. So anything that's in the red here, this is telling me that Grin is being mined by somebody solo. Somebody has ASICs, something deployed on here that they don't even need to go to a pool. They are mining for themselves. So Grin right now is pretty much taken over by either a single participant or a handful conglomerate of participants that are not public. Okay, so that means in the last 100 blocks, 83 of them went to people we don't know. And that's not necessarily, I mean, it's bad in the concept that, and I'll explain this because people don't understand why. Well, why is that bad? That means somebody's still mining. It's still got a lot of hash power. What's wrong with that and what the problem with that is it's centralized in mining, which means if you have 83% out of 100 blocks, right? 83% going to a single person or a single large farm or a conglomerate of farms that are working together, or even if they're working solo, you are now competing for only less than 20% of the potential payouts. So for the little bit of scraps that gets to whatever pool you're mining to, their luck is probably going to be proportionally low, right? So they're going to have a lot less chance. You're probably not going to get the yields that you should be getting yields wise, just because statistically they're having a problem, okay? And you can see that based on pool luck. Again, it'd be a different video explaining that, but you want to see where there's not a lot of unknown blocks and there's a lot of pools sharing the wealth there, okay? That's what is good for the individual participator from a network standpoint. So we're going to come back here. And again, you can come here and check. Now, this is usually sorted by different algorithms, right? So, and that's what we'll run on the different GPUs. On this particular one, we're looking at ProgPoW / CuPoW is effectively the same thing. There's a few little tweaks, differences here on those, okay? And we're going back to Ravencoin, and we're going to use 2Miners for this example. So if I click on 2Miners, it takes me to their pool, and then it lets me see, if I go to how to start, it'll let me see their configuration. So we're going to choose US, and we're going to choose this one right here, US / 2Miners, copy. We're going to come in here and we're going to paste over this. And it's no no hurting woolly pull. They might be coal bros. I don't know. But right now for this example, I'm going to use 2 miners. And then we need, again, to copy the address, and we need to come in here and paste right over there. And then on this one, we're going to say this is a 6800 test. 6800. Now, remember, I have a lot of the settings set right now for ETH. High memory, low core. We're going to stair step that up, and we're going to see what we need to get to. The 6800 actually mines very well on low core for some of the, for like Raven. So we're going to, if we don't need to use the power, we won't use the power. We'll do some quick testing here. So now that those 2 things are saved, I can run this, and now it's going to go out there and it's going to mine Ravencoin with the 6800 on the settings I have on the card right now. And so essentially 2 miners will start paying out to this Exodus wallet once this is mining for you, and we'll let that go back. So I'm going to bring up, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting for some of these hash rates to come in, I will answer some questions. If you guys have any questions, shoot some questions over while we're waiting for Ravencoin to do some stuff here. Let's see here. Wing Racer. Radeon 7 is still ETH mining king short of A6 or FPGAs. I don't know if that was a question or an answer, but yes, Radeon 7 right now is right up there with the 3080. It actually is a little less power with the new settings that TeamRedMiner give to the Radeon 7. It's effectively brought it back up to be the king. You're talking like 180 watts for like 100 mega hash. Let's see here. Is it rumored that Coinbase is going to add Raven? It has not been made official. So here's what I know from a Coinbase / Ravencoin ad is Tron Black, which is the lead developer, has submitted the required information to Coinbase to get Ravencoin added. There has been nothing official as far as I know that they are choosing to do it. I've heard some speculation that it would be done after the IPO, but I think with Raven's little obvious network exposure that's occurred, I would say recently, if anything, that I think it helps Raven's position, but I don't think there's anything official from Coinbase yet that will get added. But I mean, if I was a betting person, I would say that it's well, the old school guys would laugh at me if I said, hey, Litecoin's going to get listed on Gox next week. Some of you old school guys that are kind of in the crowd of this 300 that's watching will get that one. But, you know, that's kind of where we're at, honestly, with Raven is it's just speculation right now if it's going to get added to Coinbase. I think if I'm a betting man, I would think that's going to eventually get added. What do you think about the new NVIDIA's GPU lock? If you're talking about the RTX 3060, I think it's an attempt. I think it's more of a PR attempt as it is an engineering attempt. The engineering attempt they know is futile, meaning if there's enough will and way that there's going to be an exploit to get around it, and it's only affecting high memory bandwidth related currencies, specifically Ethash. So, I mean, you can mine other things at full tilt with it. But again, I mean, like, I hope a lot of gamers get them. 12 gigs of RAM is nice. The memory throughput's a little slower, but like, they could still mine with them on something like Nicehash that's going to switch around, or they can mine specifically to another card or another network. And they should be for just taking advantage of the sick gains right now that everybody's enjoying. They should be a participant is my answer to that. NVIDIA, I've reached out to NVIDIA. I have a lot of contacts in the space trying to get a test. It's unfortunate that I don't know. One, most of the time, if a company is making a product, the reference editions only go to like the high YouTubers and all that. The AIBs have direct relationships, and they have different channel teams that reach out to the various influencers, I guess you would call it, and give them opportunities to independently test things. I'm hoping that AMD or NVIDIA like lets the crypto mining community actually test the mining cards, because if they actually send them to like Jay's 2 cents and all those guys, and I'm fine with Jay's 2 cents. I've conversed with him both personally before at CES and through text and all that, at least once. you know like they're fine. I don't have a problem with them. I mean, Gamers Nexus guys, I mean, I sent them my Titan V. So when they did the 2 Titan V test, one of those Titan Vs on Gamers Nexuses was mine. And those guys are awesome. And I like the contributions they make in the space on just giving us a better understanding on how cards work. But if the mining cards end up to those guys and not a mining channel, it's going to be I don't understand the PR side. I have gotten zip from any AIB. I have contacts with all of them since I go to CES, and they are just as confused as everybody else. So either they're playing a smoke screen, or we're just not going to get an opportunity at testing them. I'm trying, bros. I mean, I hope one of I'm an all in fair market person. So if Vosk or any of the other channels get an opportunity, man, that's awesome. And I hope they do. I would like personally to be able to test it too and take it through its ringer. I absolutely, if given the chance and opportunity to buy them, I will buy every single one of them, at least one of them, to test for you guys. I'll take that expense on, like I do with all of our cards and stuff. We have only received 2 GPUs ever from a manufacturer. I got the Ravencoin USB based GPU. For people that have never seen that, this was the Mining Edition GPU. If you guys can hear me, we're walk away from the mic, but let me find it. Maybe I can find it. Maybe I can't find it. I moved a lot of my GPUs around, so I see it actually. I don't know what happened to it. This is the main board for it, but I don't know where the other GPU is. Bottom line, it's a GPU that doesn't have any PCIe. It's only got a USB into the back of it, and it's made for mining. So I got a sample of one of those, and then Sapphire sent me this 16 gigabyte RX 570 that I tested. Those are the only 2 GPUs I've ever received from the industry to do a test that I did not actually pay for. Everything else, every GPU and piece of equipment you guys have seen on this channel has been through contributions that you guys have done through like super chats and stuff. I take 100% of all the proceeds that are done from YouTube, and I roll it right back in Mr. Beast style into this channel. So that's why that's effectively what pays for the giveaway, like on the 2 1070 Ti's that I'm going to be doing. Just the money that's made and garnered from this channel, I roll right back to you guys. So it's paying it back forward to you. But and I don't cover a lot of ASICs or anything like that anymore. I used to. I mean, back in the day, I used to cover ASICs, but given my day job, and I still hold a clearance, I can't be getting a lot of free stuff from China, let's just say. So, and I'm okay with that. It's fine. I mean, there's a ton of great content creators creating content on ASIC options for people that want to do ASICs. Another question, and we're going to check this Ravencoin here in a second. I'm using a single MSI Ventus RX 3090 to mine, but the VRAM tip is really high, 100C. How what temps should I maintain the GPU at to be safe? The VRMs at 100C I would want to bring them down. There is a couple good videos out there from Son of Tech where he shows you how to replace and add some thermal pads to that. I'd highly, highly recommend, even if you're not a real tinkerer, just take it slow, peel that GPU back, and go and replace your thermal pads if you're going to sit there and keep mining with that on there. That way you don't burn that up. Over time, something that's running at 100C, which is 212 degree Fahrenheit, has a long-term operating temperature probably of 18 to 24 months without any kind of microfracturing. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to run anything 100C on a card ever for a long period of time. So either plumb it with adding thermal pads on that, or you can back down your voltages and just take that card to where you're only doing like 100 mega hash versus 120 mega hash on it, and see if it brings your temperatures back down. was a good question. Let's take a look real quick. And you guys will ask a few more questions here in a second, and I'll answer some of them here. And let's see here. So right now we're getting about 27.37 mega hash out of this card with all the settings dialed back, right? This GPU will do about 32 to give you guys an idea. If we give it a little more juice and a little more power to the core, this GPU will do about 32 mega hash to kind of give you a quick background here. But so we're mining here and we're seeing that. Let's take a look at the power. Let's go. I got to get my Stream Deck working again. This is, I had broke the USB extension I had for the Stream Deck, moving some stuff, unfortunately. So I'm waiting for a new one to show up. Full power. So we're at about 220, 240. So Ravencoin kind of swings up and down on the algo because we've brought down the voltages enough to where it's kind of jumping around. And we could actually adjust some of that. We're going to actually come back to the screen. Let's adjust some of it and see if we can lock it into about 220 watts. Let's take this and take the core up to 1425, and let's take this to 810, and take this to -2, apply. And we're going to close and restart this. See if we can get up to 32. And it should be around 220 watts full system, or it's about 160 watts on the GPU with PoW, or with PoW. So about 160 right now without power tables being played with on this. So if you're typing in, what you type in, I'm going to make sure you guys understand this while we're waiting for this to spin up here. When you are putting it into the calculator, and we'll bring up a calculator here in a second. Yeah, it's 240, 210. It's not dropping to the, since we gave it a little more voltage, it's actually kicking up a little. I bet you the average is about 240 on this. And we'll see what the hash rate gets to. It should get around 32 mega hash. So what you type in the calculator is you type in 32 mega hash, you'd put about 240 watts of power on your machine. If you had a kilowatt, you don't need this particular power meter. You can get a typical power typical I'm looking over here because I usually have one sitting over there, but it's gone. But a kilowatt will show you kind of what your power usage is. But if you have a normal gaming machine and you bring your settings down for mining, you're going to use anywhere from 165, depending what GPU you have, all the way up to 300 watts. Okay, so that if you have a higher end like 380 or 390, you're going to be probably using 300 watts full system, even if you dial your settings back on something like PoW. Okay, so that's what you're going to put in the calculator. You're going to put in, like 240 watts, and then you're going to put in your 32 mega hash, if it's 32 mega hash for this per instance, to get your calculation on how much your yield is going to be. Because it's all about, not just about your USD value, that swings with the price. What you care about when you're mining is your mining yield. How much of the coin are you going to get? Because what matters is how the coin changes in price. Ravencoin in the last, 3 weeks has went from a penny, a little over a penny, to almost 30 cents today, right? Almost a 30x. It's like 26.5, 27x in price, right? So people that were mining were, oblivious to holy crap, could it do this, right? So the yield is very important because that's how much coin you're earning, right? So I always a lot of people look straight for the price. I look for the yield, what kind of yield am I getting for this particular coin? And this works with any network. If you're mining ZEL, ZEL, you're mining Grin, you're mining any of them, right? What's the yield that you're earning? And then, you know, I look at like forecasted, like what's the trends look like? You know, is it probably safe to hold, or do I need to pay for some of these? Some people mine other coins and then they immediately sell them and buy into another coin, right? Because it's like a lot of people right now are mining ETH, but then they're selling the ETH right away and buying like Ravencoin because they can get more than if they mined Ravencoin directly. So there's a little bit of algebra. Like people are like if you're younger and you're watching this, you know, this is why you went to school. This is why you learned algebra, right? You're figuring out like, okay, which this is on the number line, which makes more sense. Mine ETH, get X, buy X, or mine X. Okay, it's better to mine ETH and then buy it with this other thing, right? So you can move around depending on what your strategy is. Again, not financial advice, just telling you the observe and report of how things work with it. Let's take a few more questions. We're gonna let this thing settle back up and bring some more profits to us. See if we can get some more out of this. What flavor of 3090 do you have? Are you going to change the thermal pads? Yes, on all the RX cards, we're changing the thermal pads out. Every one of them. I don't care what it is. We're adding some thermal stuff. Actually, I have a good one for you guys this coming week. We had ordered some cards that finally have came in. BBT Todd and I'm waiting for BBT Todd to get down here because we're going to do it together because these will go back up to the farm. But we got 3070s, 3060 Ti's, and some 3090s, and some 68 and 6900s in stuff that was ordered back a while back from MA Labs, so distributor, which was out of supply just like everybody else, and we just put an order in there. So we're going to build another new 14 card mining rig. We're going to do 4 3090s, 4 3070s, and 5 3060 Ti's and 5 6900 XTs, all in one rig. And we're going to do that here with you guys live. So it's going to be a mixed 14 card, kind of big Navi, big NVIDIA. Going to probably piss off a lot of gamers. But again, these were ordered like everybody else. And it's just, you know, we had to pay full price for it. Like there was no deals. I mean, it was like I think each of the 3090s were like 1,800 a piece. I want to say the 3070s were like probably 800 a piece, 700 a piece, something like that. The 3090, the 6900s, I think were 1,200 each. So it's gonna be a sick build. I'd like to do 14 3090s just for like the epicness of that build, but it's impossible to get 14 3090s. And by the way, I would disclose that as like, this is a horrible idea. Don't do this at home. Here's 14 3090s. I think I actually wrote up like my estimate on what 14 3090s would do. When will GPU prices be cheaper? If there's a large crypto bear market, you're going to get a whole bunch of cheap GPUs. And you're hell, invest in your local power company. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of power. I'm trying to figure out. I have a 30 amp that, and we'll probably use most of that 30 amp for that machine. So I have a 30 amp connection in the back here in the studio that we'll be using. Is it better to mine on a pool or just use Nicehash? It really depends on the day. It depends on what the brokering accounts are paying for your hash power. But most of the time, you're going to get more of a yield if you mine to a pool than Nicehash. Dang, man, we just got off the line with Chrissy. Sorry. No worries, my dude. I have not talked to Christy Mineham in a while. All right, my dudes, let's take a look at this card. We probably have to play with some more settings, but that'll be for a different video. I just want to make sure you guys can mine remotely efficiently and get some expect. We're at about 27, 28. So there's still about 28 mega hash on this. I'll have to probably bring up the core quite a bit. You can see the core here spinning up to 1482. We're still at 793 millivolts. I probably actually need to bring the millivolts up to about probably about 850 to get the 32. But honestly, it's going to push it up another 40 mega hash or 40 watts of power usage. I would actually leave it at like 28, 27, where it's at now, and just do the 240 watts full system, which is about 165 to 170 watts on the card, and take the 3 mega hash drop to have less power usage and less power cost, because you're still getting the majority. You're getting the 90 percentile of what you should get on that GPU, as an example. So you guys could write up, I would just write up 28 mega hash on this card for right now at 180 watts, 165 to 180 watts, somewhere around there. And if it's your only card in the machine, you know, you got to count the whole full system. So let's close that out. Now, a lot of these other ones you can do from a benchmark test point to see, like C31, which is like GRIN, NIMQ, Pi2, Turtle. Like you can test these things out to see what they do, but I mean, really, unless you're mining, and that one doesn't actually work it doesn't have the binaries for or the bin files to run on the 6800. See if CRN does. Again, you can, nope, that doesn't support it either. MTP, none of these are supporting the new Navi. This pool looks like it's ignore the subscriber. So Zcoin looks like it's running on it. Let's take a little quick look at Zcoin to see what it's doing. Looks like it's about 3.5 mega hash. I don't know. I don't mine Zcoin, so I don't know if that's good or not. 3.6, 3.66. Wow. This pool is 8.9. Or no. Oh, that's what's being reported at the pool. But yeah, it's probably about 3.6 on NPT. Let's see if NIMQ works. Again, these are just pools you'd have to find if you wanted to mine specifically for these different currencies. 700 kilohash. I haven't seen kilohash speeds since I was mining Litecoin. MQ about 720. Check Pi2. More info, run. Doesn't work. Let's check Turtle. Doesn't work on that. X16R2 doesn't work there. Let's check ZIL. ZIL should work. We can check ZIL real quick. Now this is going to Europe, so we're going to be throwing some shares, but it's fine. 22 mega hash. 38, 40, 41, 42, 43, 45, 46. We'll just keep letting it go real quick while we're waiting for ZIL. Yeah, if you guys can throw some likes in there, 290 of you, I would really appreciate it. Just everybody that's listening to this, just hit like. That would be amazing. That's you guys doing me a favor on the algorithm. We live at the mercy of Google on this, and you guys have all the power that watch this video that shared this video, that hit that like button, you guys are the variable for the YouTube algorithm. Imagine the power that all of you have right now on this video by clicking the like, and shameless plug for the subscribe. You guys have the ability to change YouTube's algorithm. Like you guys do. It's unbelievable. So if you hit that, it actually goes out there and the algorithm goes, ooh, what's going on here? This is cool. Let's go hit let's serve this up to more people. So that was my shameless, plea for you guys that are awesome. And anybody that watches the recast of this that got something out of it. I'm always going to get dislikes. There's no problem with dislikes. Dislikes are a statistical thing that's going to happen in math. You're not going to have everything one-sided. You're always going to have an outlier or somebody that doesn't like something from everybody's different perspective, and that's okay. Everybody's an individual. Everybody can make a decision, and you're going to have it. Statistically, it's going to occur. I would think that something's wrong if it didn't. If I had 9,000 likes and 0 dislikes, I would probably log in with a fake account and hit dislike just to see if the damn thing worked, right? Dislikes are okay. I do not have a problem with that. People have different opinions of things. It's perfectly fine. But statistically, there should be a 1 or 2 out there for every 900 if I'm doing good, right? But I'm giving you my perspective of the way I look at things. NimQ is that our what is this? Zeal is kicking butt on this. It's about as fast as the ETH. We are setting at 60 megahash. So I gave some free hash rate to some folks there. Let's go back to real quick. I'm going to take a few more questions and then we're going to wrap this one up. It gave you guys all the tools that you needed to get mining on your gaming machine right now. Literally, that's all there is to it. What I just showed you guys for at least the 6800. There is any GPU that you use, you're going to want to reduce your power rate. But what I wanted to do here is let's take a look at the pool. I want to go to 2 miners pool, and I want to see 2 miners. Come on, Google. I know you've been listening to me. Let's go 2 miners. Save me the typing. Oh, the lag. 2 miners. There we go. 2 miners. And then you can use the power of Google. Most legitimate websites have a Google appliance that is helping them on the SEO. So when you can click on this, it'll take you straight to where you need to go to. Okay. So on here, we're going to come into a little bit of lag here. We're going to go into the PoW and we're going to grab our address. Edit. We're going to copy this. And we're going to look up this miner address. And this is how you tell what's going on with the pool here. No miner data yet. So we should have left it mining for a little more. I mean, you know what that means? That means either I copied it wrong, which is a possibility. Always check it twice. Copy. Or there's not enough share data for it to report. Paste. Look. And that's why we do it twice, my dudes. I copied the wrong stuff. I missed something. So it's showing the average is 24 because the pool can only calculate what we send to it, and it can only extrapolate what it thinks the hash rate is based on our share delivery. So it thinks that we're only doing 24 because we shut it off for a little bit, so its average is going down. Let's let it run for a little bit. But right there, we have already earned a little bit of Raven. 0.29 of a Raven. and it will pay out every 24 hours, okay? So right now it's going to tell you your reward based on the calculation, and it's going to say, I was part of this block, and this block. I had done 0.001% of the required amount to earn that much reward. So this is probably the base amount of reward for participation. Okay, this number will go up as the hash rate goes up. And I will come off the base rate of the 0.001% to probably like 0.2% or something to that effect. If I had a couple mining rigs there, I would be a proportional share. I'd be like 0.65%. If I put the BBT farm on here, which I think we're actually going to, I don't remember if we're doing 2 miners or not. I have to look at Hive, but I want to say we might be on here. Miners online. I think we got about 7 gigahash on here. Yeah, I think we're right. We're either this one or this one on the BBT farm. Yes. There it is, because these are our racks. So you can see what 6.5 gigahash give. So with the amount of hash rate that's going over to Raven right now, this is becoming less and less. But you can see that even with all of our hash power on there, our share is still less than 1% per block, even with a 6 gigahash farm. So not a huge amount. Yep, Todd's in the channel. That is correct. And you can see everybody's miners, right? So you can see not just BBT farm. You can see, each of the different farms, right? You can see who's contributing the most. And let's look at the top one on here, and let's look at what percentage are they of the network. Averaging around 2% of the entire amount of hash rate that's coming here with 61 gigahash, essentially 10x, right? And you can see there, I like looking at these because I like seeing the worker build. So this is NH, which I'm assuming is Nicehash. There it is. So Nicehash is pointing. This is Nicehash pointing. So this could be somebody that's saying that they're Nicehash, or it's actually Nicehash's pointing to 2 miners. So 61 gigahash. I would think that Nicehash is bigger, and somebody's using a proxy, and they just labeled it NH. So I wouldn't know if this is actually Nicehash, or this is just a web proxy that's sending it's obfuscating all of the miners into one ID. Okay, and it's set up the difficulty rate at a very high set of difficulty because it has a lot of hash power to use. And so you got a proxy server mining that. Okay, but you can go into some of these other ones and you can see their build setups. I like seeing it gives you just a leading indicator of if I come into this miner here and I see his IDs. And I see, that's relative. You can absolutely get to 163 mega hash with a build. You have some 390s, you have some 370s, 3070s running on this. You could get a rig together that's doing 200 mega hash. But if I came in here and I saw something doing 1,000 mega hash on one worker, I would start to question things. I would start to question okay, they could be using a whole bunch of micro proxies to false frontline, or that's a lot of effort. Or they have found a bit stream that's running on FPGAs, and now they're actually exploiting it to where they're getting more mega hash. With the way PoW is ran, it's very unlikely, and not saying that it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely that somebody would be doing that. But it gives us an indicator of what is, this particular farm that has A and then whatever number. You can kind of see their various range of different GPUs. And some are going to be a little lower. So like this one might be one with some cards down. And you can kind of see, what's the relevancy of what you have running versus somebody else's. And then this right here is probably last names of people, because a lot of farms will take in investors and they'll point certain machines to certain people. And you can see that this B131 underscore Rex is probably somebody's last name. And that's this two dudes' machines, and then the farm can make an adjustment when it comes to how much hash rate were those people contributing to the total, and they will pay those people out accordingly, right? So I like seeing these different setups. Like this machine, poor CEO 41 is dead. That machine died. It happens to all the best of us, bros. But again, here's some more links and Rex. I think I have a couple H. These might be just different zones. And you can see either older machines or 4 gig cards, something like that. So, they have, you could pull all these into Excel. And me with Google Sheets is I like pulling this kind of stuff in there, and I'll parse some of that data to try to understand a network makeup. But that's just for the analyst bros that want to start to peel this kind of stuff apart. I like seeing that. And as you guys know, and I've always tried to do levels of transparency with you guys, so you guys understand what it is with mining, what it is with scaling, and how to get into even from a one machine little guy. So I'm going to take a few more questions. I'm trying to wrap this up no longer than 2 hours because this is a long live stream. And it's a long one for YouTube, but it is a full walkthrough for people. And then I can come in here and put some timestamps to allow people to kind of jump through. Let's take some questions, and then we'll wrap it up before the end of 2 hours. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I think I got all the super chats. Crypto Investor, again, thanks for those. How many likes we have to? I didn't even look. You guys do me a solid on those likes. Oh, links. There it is. So my German bros came in and told me right and left. Rex and links to the left. There you go. And this is why we're thank you, my dude. I hear you. The German bros linking up their stuff. Hello from Thailand. Thoughts on Berlin's fork for next month? It's not affecting miners. It looks like they're with the controversy with EIP 1559. They're slipping that to the second part of that Berlin. 227 likes. I hear you. That's pretty close. That's actually a lot for considering we only have like 290 in the channel. That's hey, that's more than 70%. I'm happy. I came in to rewatch. On the bench until ASICs or GPUs come available. Yeah, Mike, it sucks, bro. They're just so hard to come around on, and they're so expensive right now. How much can I make with 4 times RX 580 8 gigs? So those will be about 12 and a half mega hash night. So if you go in and look up 2448, look up about 48 mega hash at about 650 watts of power. 700, just put 700 watts of power. So 48 mega hash. Yeah, it's probably more like 650 watts of power if you power them right. And then see what that gives you on a calculator. Hello from Puerto Rico. It's a great place, probably. And some people are telling you it's about $12 a day. And that's current. So if you run on my Nicehash, you get paid in Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin goes up, that whatever that $12 is comes full circle and being more. Because I did a Nicehash burn with a couple gaming machines that I have here. In like August, I believe, I did a video for you guys, and the payouts on that were like $5 a machine, and that Bitcoin ended up becoming worth more than 4x, right? So that was equivalent to $20 a machine. Richard Porter coming in like a boss with a $50 Canadian, Spotty. I'm a legend, dude. I'm just here to serve, to help you guys get into your hashing. I do appreciate that, buddy, and that 50 goes a long way with getting some of this other equipment that I need to get in here. You didn't have to do that, my dude, but I do love you for it. Using a 1660 Super at 90 watts, Nicehash is doing 29 megahash. Should I be using Nicehash, or a lot of people don't like it? Hug from Portugal. So the reason why people don't like it is because it's been used as a bad tool. It's been used nefariously, and there is some older history with it where they got hacked and a lot of people's payouts got stolen. And then they had a repayment program that took, like 3 years for people to get repaid back. And some people have said that, hey, they never got paid back enough or all of it. But they did try to get back and good with people. There's also CUDA. There's a handful of different brokerage services out there that take your hash power and repoint it. So somebody is buying your hash power. So if you have Nicehash running on something like this, they are repointing your hash power to mine something else, and they're paying you in Bitcoin to do it. So sometimes the play is like if you were Nicehash mining, 8 months ago, and you're only getting $5 a day on a machine. Well, Bitcoin went up 5 to 6x, right? So that $5 turned into $20 a day, right? So even right now, like a single card only gets about like this card gets about $8 a day. And if Bitcoin goes to 250,000, then this $8 a day turns into times it again by 5, right? So I mean, you're talking mid 30s, almost $40, right? After it's all said and done, after fees and everything else, a day. And that's the whole point. Is like if you're not selling your coin right away and it appreciates in value because crypto right now is on a huge bull run and that value goes up, and you can cover your power cost because you're only doing it with a few machines, then that coin appreciates. And the Ravencoin people that have been mining have really felt that. I just made a ton of money in 48 hours thanks to you recommending pointing miners towards RVN years ago. Thank you so much. No problem, my dude. I look at the fundamentals of all the coins, and a lot of people have different reasons that they've went for different coins. I mean, I know a lot of my other YouTube channel friends have went to Zell, and they've done a few of the other coins that have done pretty well too. But my main thing with Raven was it was a fork of Bitcoin, which means it inherits all of the value and my mindset's a lot with development. So when I look at a coin that forks something like Bitcoin, and then they can intake any of the improvement plans that Bitcoin have, you're already starting from one of the most looked at sets of code on the planet. So if you're sitting in the crowd and you're thinking, you know what, I have this great idea, I want to deploy on a proof of work network, I'm smart enough that I'm going to go and deploy, and I'm going to fork a different currency and give it a different name. If you're forking from something like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, you are inheriting a ton of audited material. And as long as you haven't changed a lot of the base code, the base functions, get work, and all the things that make the opcodes and stuff function, you have now bequeathed yourself with a whole bunch of a lot more reliable understanding and comfortable code base to start from. And then if you add in things like Raven did with regards to trying to set things up for unique assets and being able to do like STOs, the stock traded options, and derivative trading, and all the components that come around with becoming a stock platform by design, you gain that was my main push for Raven. Is I was like, okay, they want to try to take on the stock market. They're using the baseline of Bitcoin, and they've limited the supply, right? So now you can create one to many assets, but your base layer has a limited supply like Bitcoin. So somebody can go and deploy an asset on Ravencoin with an unlimited supply of those assets, right, on Ravencoin. But Ravencoin's base layer is limited just like Bitcoin. It has halvings, it has all these other events that make the price have this scarcity effect that comes around with any store of value coin. So I was looking at that back in 2018. I was like, I like where this is going from a proof of work standpoint. I like to be able to reinforce and secure this. And that's why I sat on it for about I heard about it at North American Bitcoin Conference. It was like January 16th, 17th. I told you guys on February 2nd. I did not start trying to mine that coin until the day before, and I did it for 2 hours, and I showed you guys my wallet at that time. If you guys go back to my original video, because I wanted a fair market launch, quote unquote, to the masses the same time that I started mining it. So I was like, most people would go and try to mine as much as they can without pumping it up or whatever. And I looked at it like, history will be able to go back in time and look at my actions on that. And if my actions was to reinforce the network without any kind of scrutiny or any kind of, am I trying to enrich myself? I'm taking this from a position that all of us together can grow. And, I knew that the impact that I would have on that video was very small with related to the amount of people that would see those videos, just because my channel wasn't that big. And even now, I'm lagging behind even a lot of the bigger channels out there that do mining content because my consistency is as much. And that sucks. I mean, I wish I could be on here with you guys every day. But like my impact now, I mean, 200, almost 300 viewers. This is amazing. That's a lot of engagement. But like the content you guys are getting, you're lucky if you hear the ability to get into a coin early, and then if you can get it to work and mine, and then you're able to get a bag. Right. And you're like, I believe in this. I want to mine it. Some people are just like, dude, just give me a bag. But some people are looking at it from the greater impact that it can make from what it can do. I still believe that with Ravencoin. I've made an asset system on there for the boring out of flamethrower. I think there's a lot of potential in it. So seeing Raven where it's at right now, I'm glad for the people that were able to get in early. I still think it's a lot further. Anybody that's been around Bitcoin long enough understands that we're pre-halving. Like Ravencoin on the time scale of Bitcoin, to give you guys an idea, an understanding of the way halvings work, is every 4 years, the same as Bitcoin. Bitcoin's block time is 10 minutes. Ravencoin's block time is 1 minute. Ravencoin is inflated to 21 billion coins. Bitcoin is 21 million coins. Ravencoin's first, its block rewards are 5,000 coins per block. Bitcoin's was 50, right? Ravencoin's going to have the 2,500 Ravencoin on its first halving, which isn't until January of next year. So when we go back and we look at the history of Bitcoin, 2009 network launch, we look at the first halving event, right? When we're right there in the beginning of 2012, and it halved, Bitcoin was pennies, right? And then it had a little lift up to like 80 cents or so, but then it settled back down around 30 cents. And then it shot to like $11 pre-halving, right? Around like December time frame. It was like 11 something in like 2011. And then it went through the roof, right? It was like November. It was like October, November, I think. Because I remember right when the people were looking at going, oh my God, it's going to push to $100. And it ended up hitting a max of 220 or 212 right around that halving time. Because it worked. The machine, the system worked. It halved. Its distribution got less. Its inflation rate got less. Ravencoin inherits all of those properties. And there's not a lot of coins that do that. Any coin that forks Ethereum doesn't have an upper limit, right? Unless they've went in there and changed the upper limit. Because Ethereum is a gas. It burns. It has smart contracting layering. It has this architecture that is made to constantly inflate because you use it and you burn it like fuel. Bitcoin is a store of value mindset, right? So Ravencoin takes that store of value concept, its probability of following those type of, as long as there's development on it and energy about it and people understand like, hey, this is going to be a scarce asset. Maybe it's worth money, maybe it's not. But then there's other things with it, with regards to an asset database that you could have on top of that are unique, like NFTs. So I see all those properties. I believe in those properties. I mine it. I've been contributing to it. And it's great to see some of the folks that were able to get in there. So that was a long statement for your $10, my dude. But hopefully for the folks that follow Raven, understand, and people that haven't found it yet, even at 25 cents, I mean, where's the potential? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not, I don't have a genie in a bottle. I can't tell you where it's going to go. I'm just looking at where things that have these same properties have went, especially right before they're halving, and then definitely right after they're halving. And, even with 3 extra zeros added to it, or 6 extra zeros added to it, it's, I see a potential that, you could divide some of these numbers by 6 on Bitcoin and see where Raven ends up at, right? As the best potential. And mind you, there's other coins like this. The Litecoin's a perfect example too. It has a halving schedule. It has these same kind of properties, right? And Litecoin is grossly not close to Bitcoin, and it has a lot less supply than Ravencoin. But even if, we're talking Litecoin being at $2.40 and Ravencoin being at 25 cents. So if Raven went to somewhere like $2 or $3 at some point, 5 years from now, type of thing. So, yeah. Raven has a maximum supply, 21 billion. Trader Joe. You're thinking of Doge. Doge does not have an upper limit. Raven's upper limit is 21 billion coins. It will be. But Bits has so many GPUs and he's doing it so long and still using Nicehash. I show you guys how to use Nicehash. We do not use Nicehash at the farm. I show people from an engagement standpoint to learn how to mine and start with Nicehash if they're super confused. Hopefully this video brings you guys to a place to where you won't be confused and you'll actually can mine against the network itself and not have to use Nicehash. All right, we're right at 2 hours, guys. If that's all, most of your guys' questions there. I did see a few other questions about Ethereum Classic. I am going to have a live stream tomorrow. People that are keeping track, we're doing a Zoom call with several crypto other folks that are going to be on this call. I think we got Red Panda, we got Serpent, X Special Forces, Crypto. Who else is on there? Crypto Mikkel. I Mine Blocks is going to be on this. So I'm going to create the Zoom about a half hour before everybody, before we go live. I think each prospective channel, most of the channels are going to fire up their own version of it, but I'm going to be running effectively the call. They will also probably be streaming at the same time. You can go to any one of our channels to see it. This is going to be, I'm going to be kind of more of a moderator to kind of just collect people's thoughts around EIP 1559 ahead of my meeting that I'm going to have representing the mining. One of the participants is representing mining for people on the ETH dev call, folks. There's only going to be a handful of the devs there. I think Tim and Hudson Jamison, maybe we can get blessed with Vitalik's appearance. I would like to see if Vitalik would join. I would like to hear his perspective. I think he gets a bad rap sometimes with hating on mining, but I think if asked the right questions, I want to see his real opinion on it. So hopefully Vitalik joins us. I'm going to ask Hudson to kind of push him to trying to join us because I'd like to hear some of his perspective too. But that's for the Friday call, but this is in prep for the Friday call. So that's 10:30 Central Standard Time tomorrow. I'm going to be hosting that call. So it'll be one that you guys don't want to see. It's going to be a lot of questions answered. It's going to be one that we're going to ask the audience to participate in your opinion. Think of this kind of like almost like a Senate hearing almost for miners, where you guys contributing in the text on the chat actually will be gone through. So I'm going to make sure from a your viewpoint is listened to and pulled in. I'm going to pull them all into Excel. I'll probably, as long as you guys are very concise on your opinions on certain measures, because we're going to talk a couple different alternatives. We're going to talk about block reward increase, and I'm going to take a lot of live polling. So if you guys can make that call, understand you are going to be a contributing member to what I am presenting on Friday on your behalf. So please, if you get a chance, it's going to be in the morning. It's a.m. It's 10:30 in the morning, so not too far from now. It's actually about 12 hours from right now from my time. So 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Again, you are going to be polled. I will go back and look at the feed. I'll pull that all into Excel, and I will extract my answers that you are the answers you guys provide me into measurements on, like, if you guys want a particular thing over another. So it's the best way I can know to, like, get some kind of participation from the audience, and also hear from folks. I'm going to be trying to moderate that and hear it from the other crypto folks' perspectives. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Save your questions. We'll probably have more folks on there. All right. All right, my dudes. Have a good day.